Today we are making Crockpot Tomato Basil Soup. It is one of the most popular soup recipes on my blog, and it's a fun twist on that original comfort food. It's the perfect meal for a chilly fall evening. It's easy, delicious, picky eater proof, and the entire family is gonna love it. Hi, I'm Leanne from YourHomeBasedMom.com. And I grew up eating a bowl of tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich for almost every lunch during those cold Wisconsin winters I grew up in. Today we are making a slightly more grown-up version and a more delicious version of that tomato soup, and we're making it in the crock pot. So let's get started. Today we are using a 6-quart slow cooker, and we're going to start with the tomatoes. I use 54 ounces of petite diced tomatoes, and I use canned tomatoes. If you want to use fresh tomatoes, that's fine. You probably need to add in a little bit of liquid because we're using all the liquid that's in here. Now each of these cans is 28 ounces, which adds up to a little bit more than 54, but that's okay. So we're going to put those in the crock pot. 2 cans. We are going to add in a cup of diced onion, a cup of diced up carrot, and a cup of diced celery. And then the only thing left to add in right now is 4 cups of chicken broth. We're going to give it a quick stir. Grab a spoon. We're going to put on our lid, and then we're going to cook it on low for 5 to 7 hours. And your house is going to start to smell amazing. One of the great things about this recipe is you can turn it on in the morning and just let it cook all through the day. About 30 minutes before you're going to be ready to serve this soup, we want to make what's called a roux. And that roux is a combination of melted butter and flour. And this is going to be the thickening agent in our soup that's going to help thicken up the broth. So into our melted butter, we want to just add a half a cup of flour and mix it all to combine it. It's going to form this roux is going to form a thick paste-like mixture, and then we're going to let it just simmer low boil for about 5 minutes. Right after our roux is done cooking for about 5 minutes, we're going to take the lid off of our slow cooker, and we're going to take out about a cup of broth. Just kind of get it without. If you get a little bit of the carrot and celery in, that's okay. And we want to then pour this into our roux mixture and just stir it to combine. And then we're going to add in another cup. It'll be, again, a nice, thick, almost batter-like consistency. And once you've got that, then we are going to take our slow cooker, our crock pot, and we are going to pour this mixture, stirring right into the soup. And then stir it till it's all incorporated into the soup. After we've got the thickener in there, we are ready to put the rest of our ingredients in. We're going to add in a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. We have a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper, and a 1/4 cup of freshly sliced basil. I usually will reserve just a little bit of it to put on the top too. Mix that all in. And then the final ingredient is 2 cups of half and half. So half and half is a combination of whipping cream and whole milk. It's half and half. So if you can't or don't have half and half where you live, just use half milk and half whipping cream. And the other important thing is with your milk, because we are adding it into hot soup, we want the milk to be warm or room temperature. You don't want it cold. If you pour cold milk into this hot soup, it's going to separate and it's going to curdle on you. So make sure your milk is not cold. Just stir it all up, and we are going to put our lid back on low for another 30 minutes, and the soup is going to just, all those flavors are going to meld together and come together, and the soup is going to thicken up a little bit. So after another 30 minutes on low, we're ready to serve it. I'm going to take the lid off. It smells amazing. Just give it another stir. And then grab your bowl. We're gonna fill our bowl with the yummy tomato basil soup. And then we're gonna take some of that Parmesan cheese that we reserved and we're gonna sprinkle a little bit on top. More cheese, the better. And then a little bit of our reserved fresh basil. And then the taste test. It really is the perfect fall dinner. All you need is some crusty bread to add to it. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. You can find the recipe for this Crockpot Tomato Basil Soup in the description down below. And be sure and check out my other Crockpot recipes here on YouTube by clicking over here. As always, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel by clicking down below, and be sure and turn on that little notification bell so that you'll be notified every time a new recipe drops here on YouTube.